Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. Sorry for missing last week. I was not feeling well, but I'm back for another Q&A session of me. I see some of you already here. Hello. 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 Oh man, this one is gonna be good. Yes. Oh, before I begin, make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit a like so that I can run this channel better. And also, my husband is there giving me all the directions, what to say. But anyway, also I have a thanks button, super thanks button. So if you're watching this later, then you can still do the super chat thing from there. Oh, I already see a super chat. Keep fighting. Thank you always for your support. I really appreciate it. This is what I do. So, yes, thank you. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Okay. So, Yoko, were you shocked by the imagery of Biden's speech? He comes off just like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. Exactly what I thought. So, let's get to it. So, I did check out the news of Biden's speech in Philadelphia, and how I got to know about it was from Twitter. My friend Sarah Carter tweeted the picture on Twitter, and her comment, the first comment that she posted was, I wonder something on the line of, I wonder what American, the rest of American people think when they see this picture. Then, bam! I saw the picture. Uh, Biden looking like the villain, like exactly like I did think of Star Wars, especially because in Star Wars, they use the red lighting as the villain color, like Jedi's, I believe they use like blue color, and Jedi, and the bad guys like the Darth Vader and Palpatine, they're like red. So yeah, it just I could get into the technical things, but they do that. So like, especially with the mindset that I had, I'm like, oh, no, he has gone to the dark side. So that was my first impression. But at the same time, I had to make sure, like, the very first thing when I saw the picture, what came to my mind was, is this real? Like, is is this Photoshop? I wasn't sure. Like, is this photoshopped or is it real? Like, I couldn't tell. So I actually, like, this is true story. I had to go to Google and I typed like Biden's speech and I went to CNN because that's their friend media, right? So like, okay, CNN, I could trust them, right? For like coming from their side. So I checked it out and I do see like the red thing, and I'm like, wow, is this really real? And then I checked a bit more and realized that it is real. And I'm like, what has gotten into Biden? Like, I want to know who exactly thought that was a good idea. Like, I can see the leader, getting, riding on the idea that comes from the team, like, oh, let's go with this, sir, like, this is good, like, trust me. And if that is the discussion, then I can understand, like, people on the top, like, oh, okay, well, I'll go with that, like, I can get that. But whose idea was that to, you know blood red backdrop, and two marines in the back, which makes it even more weird, like. So like, what the picture is creating is that there's Biden, the president of the United States. In the background, there's red, the villain color, and also red represents communism to my brain. It's like, and also there are Marines. So the villain, communism, and the Marines, meaning like Marines, to me represents like uh the military, force. So that's like the president, and also he's bashing mega people, half of the population, and he's representing the military force with red. And that's like him showing that he's going into war against American people while saying like, "Oh, unity." Let's not fight, or like let's respect a rule of law. But when he talked about the rule of law, what came to my mind was BLM. Like the violence, like he talks about all this violence in Charlottesville and blah 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 in the speech, but when I picture America's violence, I think of BLM because that was like mentally shocking, the image that I saw from America. Like I couldn't believe that it was America. Bless you, husband. Um, and do you remember the all the fires and vandalism in America? And he doesn't even talk about that. And he is saying all the bad stuff, all the bad problems are coming from the Republican side. And he is like, at his inauguration, he talked about unity, but uh, like he is despising, like he's denouncing he's denouncing half of the population, right? And who knows, like it might be even more because the economy is bad, and he's imposing all the responsibility onto Russia and whatever that he can find. But of course, he's a president, so he could fix. There are policies that he can um, make, but he just blames Trump, and that's the desperation that I see right there, that he has to just bash, like he doesn't talk about the policies for to cure inflation and overall like economic problems or the threats of China. Instead of the threats of China and Russia, he kept going on with like MAGA people and Trump, and I'm like, what are we hearing? I couldn't believe what I just witnessed, and also to add, I have a little note here. To add to the villain image, the Marines, like you can see that he might go into the war against the American people, but that to me, coming from Japan, back in 1850s, there was this man, Matthew Perry, and he came to Japan, right, with on a ship, and he had several other ships, but they came with a cannon, like, "Hey, Japan, let's talk." And there's a cannon behind him, so like we feel threatened by the force, and Biden is doing exactly the same thing. Like he's like, "Oh, Trump is bad, and mega people, they are a threat to America, a threat to democracy." And he has the Marines representing the power and force. And I'm like, I get the mixed messages, unity, but he's dividing the people. And he wants to handle all the threats, but he is the threat, like, what is this, and I seriously want to know, like, this is a serious question, like who brought up the idea of using red and putting Marines in the back. Like I want to hear what really happened, to the team. So anyway, that's the rumble I had to do at the beginning because I thought it would be nice for people watching later, and also you can write questions in the meantime. But anyway, okay, so, oh, Terry-san, I got on board now. On board? Oh, you mean like on this stream? Thank you. How's the US? I believe you are in the US. 筑紫春春春見ています。ありがとうございます。Hello from Kayune? I can't read country. Hello. Congratulations on the eve of Japanese Victory Day. Victory Day? Victory Day ってなんだろう? Japanese picture day?
日本に勝ったっていう。
5日の前ってこと？ん I don't get. He looked more like Grandpa Hitler. Oh yeah, Hitler pose too. This pose, right? When I was checking out the picture, I did see someone posted comparing the picture of Biden next to Hitler with this pose. Yes. Hi Yoko, how are you? Hi, I'm doing good, as you can see. How are you guys? Oh, I see super chat. Thank you for your super chat. Hello Yoko, I'm planning a vacation to Japan next year. Nice. What are the best places to visit for a first-time visitor? Kind of depends on what kind of person you are. Like, do you want to enjoy the urban city or the traditional sceneries? Because if you go, like, if you really want to see the Japanese, like traditional stuff, I bet Kyoto, like it's typical, but Kyoto is a good place, especially for visitors. They expect guests from overseas, so they know how to make have you enjoy the trip. So I recommend Kyoto, and of course Tokyo is fun. There are many things to do or see, and you could even go to the emperor's palace, like around the area and so on. So yeah. And oh yeah, and it depends on where you come from, like what. Right. Hokkaido is also nice. Yes. Because it's and it depends on like which season you come, obviously. But Hokkaido, Okinawa, like north or south, and Tokyo, Kyoto. If you go to Kyoto, you could go to Osaka too. And Osaka is a big city. It's not really like their culture is very unique though. Like it is Japan, but not really Japan at the same time. But yeah. I was referring to the Russo-Japanese War victory. Ah, Nichiro Senso. Oh. We forget to celebrate the victory. Yeah, that victory is important. Good point. Good point. Thanks for reminding me. I should. Yeah, it's like Ukraine people. Some of them are encouraged by Japan. Winning against Russia back in the day. So yes, we have to be reminded. K June. K June. Okay, thank you. Um. Yep. Oh. Himeji Castle cool. Yes, but
Very beautiful.
Yeah, I remember going there like twice. Yeah. 姫路、あれ違う、大阪に行ったのかな I've seen 姫路 once and I've been to Osaka twice. 兵庫ね。It's the most beautiful castle, Himeji, in Japan, and it's white, according to my husband. I'm just translating him. Yep. So mine. So if you go to Kyoto, you could go to Osaka and then visit Himeji Castle too, because it's all close to each other. You'd have to still get around with trains, and I don't know how much that costs, but yes. Okay. It's cool that you guys wrote "Bless you, husband." Bless you, husband. Wait, I am getting a phone call from my. That was a phone call from my dad. I'm like, I'm live, dude. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Haha, is this real? America is like a parody now. Yeah. I another thing to add to Biden's speech, criticizing MAGA people is that it's not only Americans that support the MAGA movement or Trump policies. Like I remember when Trump was elected back in 2016, I was actually in kind of interviewed by CNN, like I kind of sold myself to CNN, like, oh, use me, like I messaged a CNN guy here, and he kindly used my event to celebrate Trump's inauguration in 2016, and he published, it's not his, but like CNN in 2016, they published an article saying, Trump, talking about Trump's inauguration and the world's reaction, or the voices from the world, and they put together all the reactions from around the world celebrating Trump administration's birth. And I was one of them in Japan. I guess that they did like a comparison too, though, because it was the voices, not necessarily a celebration. So, yeah, in Japan, like there were people hating on Trump too, like American Democrats somehow in Japan, and me, like a Japanese person in Japan, celebrating Trump administration's or Trump's inauguration. And I did see like India and other areas, from the world celebrating the inauguration, and still to this day, especially Japanese people, the one of the top alliance to America, we have supported Trump so much, especially because our now he's passed, but former Prime Minister Abe, like he was great friends with Trump, and during Trump Abe time, our relationship gotten like even better. Like it's been good, like after the war, but like it was a different level. like they put our relation to like a total different level, and there are so many fans still this day in Japan. Many people love Trump, and some of them even has like a Trump icon on Twitter and Facebook and so forth, and he's really really loved. So like like you don't want to show that speech to those people here in Japan, that there are people supporting from overseas, because it's our freedom. We can support whoever we want, right? Like we are free to have our political opinions, whatever it is. And some of us, like myself, like we support Trump. And but when we hear from alliance nations president denouncing the same kind of people in the country, like I'm actually sad, like why do you have to criticize so much, calling us like extremists, because we don't think that we are extremists, like he kind of does like I guess he defines like, oh, some extreme MAGA people or something like that. Like he tries to label, but by that, the bringing up like, oh, there are extreme MAGA people and how they are dangerous. And if you keep talking about that, people will instantly think of MAGA people in general are dangerous. And so it's like that's not excuse, like you can't use that as an excuse. Like you're just denouncing all those people. And yeah, like what does that put us, like where does that put us, like where do we stand after being criticized like that? And what's ironic is that Biden's policies, what was it called, like Buy America thing, like recently they passed the bill or whatever, but like I saw the policies of Biden administration, but it was, to me, it was a repackage of "Make America Great Again." That it's like, it was spread all the, like, semiconductor and so forth, like they are overseas, like produced overseas, so let's bring them back to America. That's like America first. you know Make America Great Again. And he just changed the phrase. At the same time, though, of course, like he says stuff like that, and then, of course, there's a Green New Deal type of stuff too. But you know what I mean. So, man, I swear to God, whoever is the puppet master behind Biden lives in a fantasy world. Yes, and the writing of the speech was bad. Like I could see that whoever wrote it was trying so hard to make it cool, playing with the words a little bit, but the speech didn't say anything but to criticize Trump, and I there's no heart in the speech aside from madness and anger. And so, yeah, like at least back in Obama time, the speeches were great, like I have to admit that the speeches were great. Like it's not like like I stand on a different position politically, but like you can see, like artsy level, eloquency and artsy level, like art level, like it's good, right? But Biden administration, like Biden speeches, like I don't know what's going on, but anyway, they Biden looked like a villain of a movie. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. Is politics in Japan as polarized as America? Obviously, it's not like the US, but does polarization exist there? Yes. Yes. It's like conservatives versus leftists. So like pro Abe, anti Abe. So pretty much the same as America. And as for policies though, it can be mixed. It's not as it's not like dualism here. But yeah, especially because when it comes to economy, conservative people are not very aware of how economy works, like including myself. So we don't talk much about economy, and sometimes leftist, the parties from the left, they have good policies too. So that is kind of like confusing. But um, yeah, when it comes to ideology, it's conservative and versus left. So, and aside from like ordinary politics, it's kind of mixed, if you know what I mean. Yes. There are some weirdos in the USA who claim that China is more conservative than Japan and that Abe was pro-immigrant. How do you respond to this idiocy? Oh wow! Whoever those people are, they are probably working for CCP. They get paid probably saying stuff like that, because or just true patriots of China or something. Because it doesn't make sense to me. um, China. What's sad about China is that, for example, even regarding Trump, there were some Chinese people in China trying to have a rally, Trump rally, to support Trump. But when they were planning, of course, the CCP watches everybody in the country. They have cyber troops, and so those people, like I believe that was 5 or 6 or something like that, but they were planning an event, and there were gonna be like American flags, and they were gonna purchase that, or they did purchase or something like that. So that's how they noticed, and that they got arrested. So, or arrested or just caught, I don't know, but they were stopped from having that rally, and they don't have the freedom. And like if you I don't know. I think that China traditionally had freedom. It's that right now CCP's regime doesn't represent China, in my opinion. Like they did have empire, but it's it's different, right? So it's not communism. Yes, and Abe was pro-immigrant. Abe was sort of like his policies were somewhat like a globalist-ish because it's not because he wanted to push that sort of policies, but because he had no choice. You know, politics is all about where to win and where to lose, and he had to calculate where to win and where to lose. And he was a master or the king of compromise. So he compromised a lot when it comes to globalism, and he also knew that um, you have to, even though he was true conservative, he knew that he had to adjust his level to the rest of the world in order to, in order not to be left out from the world, So, yes. It was by BLM, all stores boarded up. Oh, reminds me, I was watching Fox News and they were talking about BLM's executive. I don't know, like a founder, co-founder, one of the co-founders of BLM. Like she has rich houses or whatever, and they were taking that up again. So I guess she was sued by fellow BLM people or something like that. Yeah, I was getting ready and listening to Fox News, so I was not fully paying attention. But yeah, Biden looks like the evil president in Final Fantasy VII. Oh no! Thank you for your blessing. Biden, the worst president ever. Like, I wonder. Oh yeah, some people were pointing out how the stage, the blood red backdrop um, of Biden. If Trump did the same thing, with the red backdrop and Marines in the back and just criticizing the Democrats, that would drive everybody insane, people on the left. They would just, oh, they would freak out, right? Are they quiet right now? Like, even if I was a Democrat, I would still get upset by that image, I think. I wonder how they are reacting. Yeah. Okay. Everyone feels like the Democrats have gone mask off, Yoko. Mask off. Oh, our entire half of the country feels like he's declared us enemy of the state. Yeah. And the ironic part of that is that I think that it will backfire because Biden keeps, denouncing MAGA people. He keeps criticizing, oh, MAGA people are dangerous, they are extreme, they are violent, and blah, 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 blah. And if you are told like that, if you're one of the MAGA movement, MAGA movement, then you would think like, no, we are not. Like we're not dangerous, right, right, right. And everybody will start talking, and it will unite the MAGA people even more because they are attacked. So Biden wants to shrink or damage the MAGA people, but when they are attacked, they will rise, right? They will come back stronger. and what that means also is that the division in America will even get stronger. It will be divided even bigger. And while Biden wants to unify, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna unify the country, but he's actually destroying America. and also he wants to attack his political opponents, political enemies, but it is all coming back to him like backfiring. And like this whole thing is just ridiculous, on many levels. So, but someone, I wonder who, I don't remember who, but someone like a public figure on Twitter was saying that actually I saw like two people saying though that it's a bait, that if you are told like, oh, MAGA people are dangerous and so on, we want to fight back, right? But if you do that, then you might prove the point of Biden, like even if it was not true, you make it true by your actions. So you want to stop yourself from doing that. So that's something to watch out for. But yeah. I'll be in Japan for about 10 days. Oh, 10 days. Cool, cool, cool. 10 days is enough, I think, to see around. Yeah. Let's see. Dark Kyoko. I'll tell you what. The reason why I speak English is because I trained myself so much back in high school days. And you know what my ID was in Yahoo chat room? It was dark. My chat username was dark, like oh dark oh. I was 16, so yeah. Hello. We're officially a banana republic. Yeah, what has happened to America? Seriously, nearly everyone in CNN is being fired for propaganda anyway. Yeah. Abe-san didn't pass away. He was murdered in a cold-hearted manner. Yes. It's crazy that he was assassinated, but the media never calls that an assassination. And also, the politics here right now is so chaotic that, like, it's basically we are listening to that terrorist. The terrorist. I don't know if you guys care, but the terrorist wanted to attack the Unification Church, and um, Abe had some business with them, like giving them like video message and so forth. So did Trump and other leaders in the world, but so the terrorist wanted to kill Abe to attack, to revenge the Unification Church because his mother spent so much money on the church. So it was a revenge, and he used Abe as a symbol. And then now the media is saying like, yeah, Abe was blah 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 blah, like, he had ties with the Unification Church, and now they're like they keep attacking Abe and LDP, like, oh, the LDP has ties with the Unification Church. See, like they are bad, and they are now LDP even is now saying, like our prime minister is right now saying that the party will no longer have the ties with the Unification Church from now on. And if a member of LDP does have ties with the Unification Church, then the politician has to leave the party. So basically, like, it's a more morality aside. Like basically, they are saying that, oh, we are listening to the terrorist, because oh yes, Unification Church is bad, just like the terrorist was saying, basically. So, like, oh man, it's crazy because now we are gonna ask like, oh, are you like, do you have ties? Like, do you have any business with the Unification Church? And they're gonna ask that beforehand, and that's like violating the freedom, of religion. So, oh man. Oh man. Anyway, Obama, Hillary, Biden, three peas in a pod when it comes to attacking Americans not in their party. Which reminds me, so if the FBI raided to Trump's Mar-a-Lago, but they never go to like, I guess given what they say is true, like, like they wanted to find something, and I'm like, fine, like let's just accept that, like fine, but then go to Obama's place or Hillary's place, like do it fairly. And I bet that they will find more things there, especially Hillary. Hmm. I feel a little threatened by Biden's words. A friend of mine tried to reassure me Biden is referring to those who would commit violence. Would they riot if Trump were to be jailed? She really thinks so. Oh, wow. It's so crazy that, like, MAGA people have existed, for how many years now? Like 6 years at least. And sometimes, of course, there were crazy people every now and then, like, Charlottesville or whatever. But things like that happen on both ends. And that doesn't, like, Biden and Democrats want to use like one or two extreme people and generalize that image to everybody on the side of Trump. But MAGA people are just ordinary Americans, right? And that's just crazy to me that they can think like that. That it's it's Biden, it's the Biden administration or Democrats that are dividing America, because it's just Trump supporting people are just there agreeing with the policies that Trump has. And it's it's just what happens in politics, that you do have the freedom of speech and freedom to just think freely in politics, but they just cannot tolerate that, and it's crazy to me. Like, why do you have to doubt your fellow Americans? My husband is bored right now because I keep talking about what he's not interested in. Uh, they're afraid election coming in a few months. Yeah, they're desperate. Yeah, yes. Like when we see the picture, the red backdrop picture itself, like that alone explains it all. That he is desperate. Hmm. Hollywood has lost a lot of its powers over the last few years, especially. Oh, okay, interesting. When you say the leftists in Japan, do you mean Marxists? Yeah, that included about usually liberals and communists, a bit of socialists. And my husband again is eating ice cream in front of me. He's like, he's so mean. He's so mean. I'm like a doggy. Give me. Okay. Yeah, I imagine a left wing Japanese person is probably still right wing compared to an American. Um, I think that it's on the same level though as American ones, because like Japan and America, like our cultures are so different that, like, I bet that American people don't even think about Japan daily, but it's like really our history are attached to each other, and we're dealing with the same problems, and our living standards are pretty much the same. So the problems that we have and the political dynamics that we have are pretty similar, you know? Like Abe was like Trump here. And um it's not the only difference, I think, is that we don't fight against establishment much. We don't have that sort of talk here, even though we should. So that's a little bit different, but just overall, left and right, and the media and the education, and you guys have the problem with Hollywood. We do have problem with our TV related people. It's not a celebrity that you think in America, but we do have our famous people like actors, actresses, and so forth, or comedians. Like they are left, usually left, and so it's pretty much the same here. And same-sex marriage and so on. We don't have the problem of abortion or gun control, of course, but um, we do have a problem of like LGBTQ and feminism, and so same-sex marriage has been a problem. Like it's not really a problem, but like the left is pushing so much. So, and what happens in Japan is that our media has business with the media in the US. So usually the news that we get or the talking points that the media here get are imported from America. So yeah. And the leftist people, of course, they are elites here as well, like graduating from our left biased schools. So it's the same as America. And what that means is that they become elites, and elites are united in the world. They work at the United Nations, or the high level organization, and they become friends. And so what the agenda they push becomes the same. So we do have similar problems. My friend really thinks that January 6th incident was more terrifying than the BLM riots. Seriously? I told her they always talk about January 6th, but now the riot, not the riots. She says that's different. Like, exactly. How? Oh my gosh. I would be I would run away from BLM people, like they were stealing things, putting fire, and I would just run away because that's a true violence. It's like a revolution, like a communism revolution. Like, oh, let's steal from the rich, because we deserve it, and just let's punch whoever we see. That's communists. Oh man. And January 6th was crazy, but I think that it's like what was happening with the security, like it's not like it is, I guess, scary when, people rush in, but it's so weird. I don't even like look into, like, I have questions, but I don't even look into that because it's not like terrorism, stupid people are everywhere. So question, is there a more subtle eastern variant of small hat subversion responsible for Japanese demographic cultural fracturing in a way we Americans wouldn't understand? That's such a difficult question, like grammatically. More subtle eastern variant of small hat subversion. What is small hat subversion? I know subversion, but what? Sorry. Can you paraphrase? Democrats aren't left. What does that mean? If Trump did what Biden did, they probably call to impeach him again. Yes, yes, yes. The left loves the imagery. Yes, it's the same here too. Like some people were saying how Biden or Biden supporters are like they believe in fantasy. It's the same here. Like people on the left side, they're delusional. They have not all of them though. Like I am friends with like liberals, and I don't agree with everything that they say, but like of course there are common things, and I'm not gonna criticize everything, but um usually the world that they picture is just all made up, and it's just fantasy, that they keep thinking about what cannot be created. They totally just ignore what they don't agree with, and the world doesn't work like that. Like people on the left side, they say like you have to be tolerate, be open-minded to other beliefs and cultures and races and whatsoever, but they actually, just like Biden, they denounce what they don't like, and that is fantasy. Anyway, I'm reading so slowly, so let's go to the bottom. um Yoko, have you or Hide heard of Dr. Steve Turley? No. I don't think my husband is even listening right now. Steve Turley. 知らないね. We don't know. Small hats is a veiled reference to Jewish elites. Oh, okay. Is it like Jewish people? Just so you know, Japanese people love Jewish people because some believe in like there's this conspiracy even that like we come like Jewish people and Japanese people come from the same root and so on, and we actually like that. So hey Yoko, how is the process of Abe's killer going? It's still, I guess it's still under investigation. Nothing, like the court hasn't even started. Yeah, but I wonder when that was, but a month ago or so. I don't even remember when, but it was a while back. Like the court, I mean the trial, I guess the term is. It hasn't begun, but people on the left, they were collecting signatures to release the terrorist. So, like what? They ignore all the like legal procedures. So that was so odd. What is your opinion of Wang Jingwei? He was a Chinese politician who supported Japan during the Second World War. 誰だろう? Wang Jingwei. 王朝明。
ああ、おちょめね。
うん。どう思いますか?
まあだから当時の中国って日本で戦国時代、
うん。
いろんな勢力がいて、王朝明は日本を応援していた。
So basically, there were many powers in China at the time, and Wang Jingwei was one of them, and he did support Japan. Yeah.
まあだから日本が負けたから彼も終わっちゃった。
But Japan lost, so he lost too. うん。
まあだから評価はするというか、まあまあ昔同盟国だ。
So it's like an old ally back in the day.
だから本当に根本的に日本人も含めて理解してないのは中国が一つだと思ってるんだよね。いろんな勢力がもうバラバラ、日本で戦国時代の状態だ。
This is the same in Japan as well, but China back then wasn't one China. You know, there were many different powers and they were fighting inside. So, yes. And Chinese people were fighting each other in the like on the continent.
その中でその王朝が日本の同盟国だ。
and that guy you mentioned was on the side of us.
で最も不幸なことは CCP が政権を取ってしまった。
And the most unfortunate thing was that CCP gained power. Like they got to rule China. That is a very unexpected and unusual conspiracy theory. I can tell you the geographical origins of the Jewish people is very distant from the Japanese. I know. I know, but it's yeah, some conspiracy theories like that are just crazy, you know. I guess one even includes Christianity too. Like some Christian people really back in the day, like visiting Japan and then their offsprings here and so on. Like but it's like it's not like I believe in it, but like I like to not deny it just to have fun. You know, it's I think it is a fantasy, and I know it's a fantasy, and I just think it's fun to believe in that sort of stuff, you know. And Japanese people do that. Like we don't passionately like believe it, but we like, like, we just enjoy the stories because we're actually tolerant, you know. And that is something that our culture is so like we just don't care too much, I guess. We enjoy whatever we want to enjoy. So like often our beliefs are all mixed up, our religious beliefs and our everyday life, you know, our housing, like everything is all mixed and chaotic, but that's our culture. Like some people, like especially Westerners, have a wrong idea of Japan, like Japan being like, you know, homogenic, and it's like, oh, Japan is this, like they believe in the box of Japan, but we don't have that. Like it's all mixed and chaotic here. Japan is a mixture of everything, really. And so yeah, that's something that Biden could learn from, you know. Like we don't deny things. The Los Angeles consulate held a seminar on Chune Sugihara a couple of years ago. Cool. Oh, Japanese consulate. Nice. Biden's speech was supposed to make people think the Dark Brandon meme. Some people wanted to make Dark Brandon trend and become a meme. Oh yeah, I did see Dark Brandon. Like I did see the meme already. Brandon. That's kind of nostalgic now. Like I hadn't heard of that thing for a while. So what is happening between Japan and Russia, where they try to steal our oil up north, one-sidedly trying to abandon the, you know, our contract of the project. And also, Russia just held the military exercise, like a joint exercise with China and all the other countries that are on their side, including India, actually. But yeah, so China and Russia are very close militarily, and they sometimes fly around or they what you call like they go around in the sea together. Yeah, and that's what we were dealing with. And aside from that, I think we are just on the same page as America or the UK. Yeah. We don't even talk about Russia. That's bad. That's bad. Like I can't even think of what to say. So that's a problem. Because we are so distracted by China, like Taiwan situation is it's like what happens to Taiwan is the same as what happens to us. So we are focused on China, and so we are not looking at Russia as much, and that's bad. What are your thoughts on Sony PlayStation abandoning its roots and audience of Japanese people and culture? They are. Um, the gaming industry is so weird. Like I'm not collecting information, so I don't know much at all. But yeah, they do care so much about the audience from the world, and yeah, people here cannot play much, and yeah. And what's sad about gaming in general is that actually China is beating us, I feel, like technology and all this, like gaming companies, like, yeah, they're huge. But here, like, we have, like, gaming is part of so called soft power, of a nation. But I don't think the government knows how to use our power, So yeah, because the elites just don't know culture. They know their culture only, so they don't understand the ordinary people's everyday life. What we enjoy or what's the strength of the economy and so on. So they always make like false policies. I heard the Japanese banks are looking into accepting Russian currency through some means like India. Did you know anything? 日本の銀行がロシアの通貨を受け入れようと考えているって。インドみたいに何か知ってるか？ We don't know. Sorry. Does Japan consider Taiwan separate from CCP China its own country? Yes. We believe Taiwan is Taiwan and not part of CCP. Yes. But as I said before, like many times on my stream, like we want Taiwan to be by we, I don't mean the Japanese government. The Japanese government wants to do well with China and Taiwan, like both of them. So they like balance it out. But like at least conservative people, we want Taiwan to be independent. But when we talk about Taiwan independence, we have to pay attention to what the Taiwanese people are actually saying. Some people just want the Taiwan, like when we picture Taiwan, this is like the island and country, right? But there are some Taiwanese people that want like the Chinese continent also, like some of the continent also. So we have to make sure like how far they want to get independence. So yes, but we do support Taiwan and their democracy, their independence. And yes, I feel like there are many things to add, but I'm gonna cut it here. There's a theory in academics that China's the century of humiliation, 100年国事 by the hands of the West might have set China on its path to re-attain international dominance like it had before. Interesting. 中国
国の恥だね。
恥だね。え
それを注ぐって言ってんだろ。
そういうアカデミックな世界にセオリーがある。そういう議論がある。中国がまた国際的なドミネンス支配昔のように持つかも。ちょっと難しいな。It's difficult. Finnish nationalists remember the Japanese victory as the event that ended the Russification period and a decade later to our freedom. And that's why we have a song celebrating it. Really? Wow. You're from that's Finland, right? Wow. I didn't know that. I was actually last night, my husband and I, we were I made him watch, but we were watching the YouTube video showing the world map history, like how there are videos showing all like basically the world map, but there are powers going like back and forth, like you going to war, so there are sometimes like big land obtained, but then you lose, and like it changes along the time, like chronologically. And we were watching that and we were like, oh, Roman Empire, like oh, that empire, go, like we were watching it like like I don't know, I shouldn't say sports, but it was like that, like watching all that stuff. And I realized how we were just on it's like blink of an eye when you look at the long history, in the long run. Like if you look at history in the long run, like we are just a tiny bit of the history. And there was even a comment saying like, oh, we have to wait for another 2000 years to see part 2. So yeah, it's so weird now, like how usually that sort of videos just end with red, Russia and China. It's like big red. Yes. Anyway, oh, it's been an hour, so I should go soon. Any insider knowledge regarding Nagasaki being the center of regional Christianity, thus was a low-key serious target. Also, the miraculous survival of priests. What we know is that there was a church in Nagasaki that was actually affected, that they broke down, and that did kill Christians there. Nagasaki prefecture is where there were lots of like secretive Christians. Like it was banned, but they kept, Christianity going in the back. Miraculous survival. 神父原爆の後神父生き残ったりしてる。
神父
神父
で
それについてなんか知識ないかって。
原爆の後に生き残ったって？
とかなんかそういう人いるのみたいな。
それは別にいるだろうけど、有名なのはあれだろう。
There was one that he's thinking of right now, but we haven't talked about stuff like this in forever. It's like he's looking that up.
まあ、そういう
We can't instantly remember. Sorry.
まあ、とにかくいろいろそれ生き残った人はいるだろう。
Yeah, there are survivors, but sorry, we can't remember right away now. I just recalled your chat with Black Pigeon Speaks, Nobita, and Renegade Tensai from some years ago. Did you and Nobita ever find out what a trop was? The American otaku slang. Oh no. And I don't even remember the conversation. I do remember that stream, but oh. Heard about a bunch of Japanese Coast Guard vessels in the Taiwan Strait over the last few days. Yes, I saw the news too. I mean, was it on the news? Yeah, it was on the news. But yeah, I believe it was to avoid the typhoon. But whatever the reason is, it's good. Like I did see the map of. Did I retweet that? I saw the picture explaining like the Taiwan and they're like Japan, 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 like what the vessels. So cool. And they didn't go to the Pacific side. They went into the yeah, like Taiwan Strait, like China between China and Taiwan. And it's a good picture. It's crazy though that I don't think our constitution actually would protect our people, you know. We can't attack our enemies because that's how our constitution is. Like you have to if you want to attack your enemy, then you have to get hit first, you know. You get hit and then you have the right to attack, but you obviously we don't do that too. So and China knows it. So I don't know if it's I don't know what we are doing. And in order to revise our constitution, Shinzo Abe was our hope, you know, like he was after being the prime minister for the longest time in history, he gained power even more and like he was no longer the prime minister, but it was the time for him to actually be the guy behind the curtain to uh, you know, push the revision of our constitution, but he was taken away by violence. And yeah, it's sad. I think it's cool. Japan like Sony and Nintendo over Microsoft to Xbox. Oh, Bill Gates, who founded Microsoft, is a globalist freak. Bill Gates, by the way, he came to Japan recently, and I think he received some kind of award from us too. He was in Japan recently. We should look it up. Okay, should I go soon? Trump and the entire GOP is close to the Unification Church. They also own the Washington Times and control 20% of the sushi market in the US. I didn't know about sushi market, but yeah, well, we are aware of Washington Times. Yes, and it's like the leftists here, they just want to attack LDP like whatever they can find. They want to attack, you know, with that. So it's just one topic that they're using. Yoko, will you be doing a goth stream in full makeup? Why? Am I a goth? I wanted to become a goth when I was in university. Okay. I just want my new He-Man toy that says "Made in Taiwan" on it with a stamp 20. 2022. Love you guys. Thank you. Nice. How are the current South Korean Japanese relationship nowadays? Are the Koreans still guilt tripping the Japanese for World War II? How has the Japanese perception of Koreans currently? It's been pretty much the same, but the thing about Korea is that right now their administration is chaotic. That their party is there are some problems going on inside of the governing party there, and so I don't know about that, but there was this exhibition in Japan. You may have heard of it, but there was this like freedom of expression related exhibition. Like they were the left held one, saying like, "Oh, we don't have the freedom to express whatever," and they did all this anti-Japan exhibition, and it included the comfort women issue, I believe. And so there's this Korean group now that are saying like exclude comfort women issue out of the exhibition. Like there are some Koreans now that don't want the comfort women issue anymore because it damages our relation. So that's a huge step forward. Like whatever the belief is, like those people, though the activist group, they probably know the facts of what really happened between our countries, but the whatever the majority of Korean people think, and whatever, like they should be patriotic. Like I don't want to stop them from being patriotic, but like you shouldn't just say negative things to the country that you want to bond with, right? Like I wouldn't say all this war stuff against America right now, because I love America, and we really we are thankful of the relationship that we have, like alliance. We are protected by America today, and that's what matters. So we're focusing on that. But with Korea, yes, they do use the guilt imprint to attack us and so on, and it's not benefiting either of our countries. So but some Koreans, like over the past few years, they started to realize that it's important to put Japan and America on their side, to protect themselves from totalitarianism and so forth, or communism. So yes. Okay. Okay. Have you heard about how the media criticized Trump because Trump criticized the left-wing government in South Africa for stealing land from white farmers simply because the farmers were white? What? I don't know that. Huh? Trump criticized the left-wing government in South Africa for stealing land from white. Huh. Interesting. No, I didn't know that. Whatever, whatever they can find, they just attack Trump. That's crazy. Okay, it's been over an hour. My husband is not interested. So he's done eating ice cream and so on. I think I should I think I should walk him, He's a puppy. He wants to go outside and take a walk, so I should yeah, go walk him. But so yeah, I should go. Okay. Ohio. Ohio. Mm. Yokosuke, thank you. Okay, so um yes, I talked so much at the very beginning of this stream, so like I think I have said everything I have to say. So yeah, I'm gonna go. So thank you so much for watching till the end. I really appreciate every single one of you who watched this stream because I don't know, I'm just a person in another country for you, you know, but yeah, you care, you're kind enough to uh, come out and watch the stream. So, so this part is always goodbye. Thank you. Same, same. No belly rub for Habis he ain't ice cream. Yeah, I'm not gonna rub his belly today. Yeah, I gotta, catch his tail or something. I don't know where his tail is, but okay. Thank you guys. I'm gonna go. Have a good night or good day wherever you are. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. You too. 99. 99. Okay. Miss sort of for you. Thank you. Okay. Have a good night. Okay. Bye bye.